Thank you for introduction. So I'm happy to present another recent work. It's about mobility management. And as we know, the mobility management actually is a very fundamental service provided by cellular network. It's actually one nice feature of the cellular network compared with the other wireless networks. So basically, the background about mobility management is implemented through the handoff. So we know in cellular network, each cell has limited radio coverage. So when the device moved from one place to another place, we have to switch the saving cell to maintain seamless radio connectivity and then the connectivity to the core network. This way, we can actually ensure the ubiquitous network access and provide data and voice service on the go. And a desirable handoff should be stable. When I mean stable, I actually means if the network environment doesn't change, we hopefully, the device should choose, stay with one saving cell. For example, in these 3 cell cases, at the beginning, the phone actually is in the coverage of cell 1. He may state it's cell 1. When he moves, so network environment change, and he realizes cell 1 is not a good choice, he actually will trigger the handoff that moves to the cell 2. After he moves to the cell 2, hopefully, a stable handoff should make the device 2, or phone, stay with the cell 2. This is stability. We definitely know it's easy to understand stability why it's so important, because handoff actually comes up as a cost. For example, to enable the handoff, the device and network have to exchange a signal and message. It takes time, for example, a few seconds. And then if frequent handoff happens, the service will be disrupted and the performance will degrade. That's why we hope the handoff will be stabilized. However, in reality, maybe handoff is not as stable. This one shows you, the right figure shows you another example. Actually, we expect, we put the phone actually at one location, and we assume network environment doesn't change. So we hope, the phone actually will stick with one saving cell. Unfortunately, we can say the saving cell, as oscillated among 3 cells, it forms a persistent loop. So it is never stabilized, it's never stable. This one definitely will harm the performance of both carriers and the users. So this inspired our study. This is actually the first effort to look into the mobility management instability problem in cellular network. In particular, we want to answer 3 questions. First one, whether this is the unstable mobility management will happen in the real network. Second one, why they are unstable. And the last one is how can we identify or detect these possible unstable cases. I want to emphasize one thing is here what we talk about the unstable mobility management is different from those traditional ping-pong effect, because we do not care about those caused by like some transistor factor. For example, the device moves around the edge of the cell. In this case, of course, network environment change. Of course, you will oscillate your saving cell. In this case, we assume even environment doesn't change, and the fundamental conflict in your mobility management configuration will cause the instability. So let's look into the first question, is whether the unstable exists. Yes, unfortunately, is yes. Let's go back to this example. This is a real example we observed. In this case, we have 3 cells, and cell 1 and cell 3 both actually are 3G and 3G cells deployed by operators. And the cell 2 actually is another femto cell deployed by user. And the femto cell actually is a small cell. And this is one mechanism that allows the mobile user to deploy their own base station to complement the current network infrastructure to enhance coverage, improve the performance. So in this case, we put the phone at one location. And we assume network intelligence change, we measure, we log all the saving cells observed by this phone. So this figure shows you what our trace. And we can say the saving cell actually oscillated among these 3 cells, and actually the loop repeated itself every few minutes. Actually, every 3 minutes, it will repeat itself. So it's easy to understand this will definitely will pose very negative impacts. First of all, it hurts the carrier and the users. The carrier and the user will never achieve their goal. Either they cannot stay with the 4G to get high speed, or they cannot use the femto cell to offload their traffic. And moreover, it will incur a lot of the radio resource waste. Because you can say, actually, to enable this frequent handoff, this loop will incur 2 times or to 8 times of the signal and message exchange. However, this is waste the real resource. And also it results in performance reduction. So we test with like we get the time to load a web page or to download a file. So we can say actually that's more than 10-fold slowdown. That's easy to understand because the frequent handoff action causes the service disruption. So this action poses very, very bad experience. It's validated actually stability is a desirable feature. Then we are curious, why? Why mobility management is unstable? Because it's, again, it's our common sense. Supposedly, Cellular should be quite successful, right? So we look into, to answer this question, we look into the nature of the handoff. Actually, each handoff is a three-phase. It means they need to trigger, decision, and execution. Let's look at this example. And when at the beginning, the phone actually is in the serving cell, is still cell 1. Even if he moved to a new location, the cell 1 actually will configure, okay, or configure the condition to trigger the handoff. For example, the phone will measure the neighbor cells when the serving cell is below some threshold, radio single strength threshold. Or when I find some neighbor cells who has stronger coverage, and I will report this result to the serving cell. If the one that trigger this one, when he report the result to this one, and the serving cell will make a decision to decide whether I should switch to other cells or which cell I should switch. And this one will based on the handoff decision rules, which have been pre-configured according to different purpose or demands. In this case, we move to the cell 2, and then the other cell 2, and we switch. Then we will prefer a handoff, procedure. After this one, the device will change its radio configuration and eventually switch from cell 1 to cell 2. The one handoff is done. However, once the phone moves to the cell 2, similar procedure can be repeated. Of course, if the handoff is stable, likely he may not trigger another decision to move to another handoff. But if it triggers to move to another handoff, actually the whole handoff process actually is a sequence of the handoff decision. Now, the problem is, the real problem actually in the handoff decision is handoff is not used one single rule. Actually, handoff is used to satisfy the many different demands. For example, some devices want to get seamless coverage, so they want to maintain connectivity as long as possible. Some handoff actually is used to provide voice. For example, in 4G and 3G, as I mentioned here, and some users actually move to the 3G network to get voice support. Sometimes used for performance improvement, or even you are served by a 3G cell, but I want to hand off to 4G cell, so likely I can get high speed, and maybe the handoff can be used for load balance. For different purpose, actually handoff will have different decision logic and different configuration and parameter. But the problem might be maybe each single individual handoff is well justified, but we do not know what the sequence or the interplay of multiple handoff is okay. Maybe it is problematic. This actually is the reason for this loop. So let's go back to this example. This is the 4G cell. Basically, cell network want to improve. For example, I want to move to the high-speed network like a 4G network. I also prefer femto cell to offer my traffic, so they will make their mobility management configuration to achieve this goal. And in this case, he actually configured cell 1, like 4G cell, with this preference. For example, I prefer femto cell for offloading traffic. So when the phone stays with cell 1 will trigger a handoff to cell 2, to femto cell. And once he moves to the femto cell have a different preference. He may think about, I will believe all the cells have the same preference, but the one with the strongest radio coverage should be my choice. So in this case, if cell 3G cell is stronger than cell 2, then he may move to 3G cell. And after he moves to 3G cell has another preference. His preference, I believe 4G always has higher preference than me because 4G likely will have high speed. So he will move to 4G. Then this loop is forward and repeated, and it never ends. So this example shows us one example to show why instability may happen due to the conflict in the mobility management configuration. We actually formulate this problem into a formal one, and we can actually say each individual handoff decision actually is a function from my current serving cell to target cell. And the whole handoff process actually is a sequence of the handoff decision. And we likely can learn, actually instability means this sequence never converge, right? For example, you have a loop from C to C and through many, many other intermediate cells. I don't want to, because due to time limit, I don't want to repeat all this theoretical foundation. So basically, we can derive, actually there exists some necessary and also some necessary sufficient condition to guarantee the stability. For example, if you want to get the stability, you have to have some cell which will decide to move to itself. Otherwise, it will never converge. So this rule actually gives a foundation for us to do the last task, how to detect impossible, the possible instability in reality. So our idea is we know, okay, in fact, real world, user may suffer from the instability, and we wonder how can we know, in what cases? If we, for this purpose, we actually devised a tool called the Mobility Management Dialog. I want to emphasize this actually is an in-device tool. So it means it will definitely count on the carrier network information. We make this choice because in the reality, actually the carriers are not willing to share their network information to the end users. That's why we developed the in-device tool. And this tool actually has two phases. The first phase is called analyzer. It's more like I base on my configuration scenario and detect where the instability might happen, so possible instability. And the second phase, we'll validate it in the real environment and check what this instability that's incurred in the reality. So for the details of this one, the key of this dialog actually is called the animal automata. This actually is a model and based on the 3GPP specification, which modeled how exactly each mobility management or handoff prefers, including its decision logic, its configuration parameter, and also the runtime optimization, for example, radio single strength. So in reality, and when we ask the device to collect configuration from, okay, for example, relevant to the mobility management from the signal message, is changing between the device and the network. And from this one, for example, we can learn like radio threshold, or we can learn like some signal, or like some priority list configured by the serving cell. So we can collect this in the configuration. And we will run scenario emulator. It's more like, we will measure and emulate different signal strengths in the radio traffic, and then force the M model as the mobility management model works. And in this case, during this running, we actually also check what violation will happen. It means, instability will happen in this case. If so, we output the outcome example. And given the insight from outcome example, we actually repeat. So it means we'll reconstruct a scenario and then run experiment at that place and validate if this one is true or not. So we develop this tool, and then we run this experiment in one top US carrier and test this one in Los Angeles and Caribas area. This is the whole picture. This one shows us our finding. We did observe the loops in reality. This one gives the whole picture. We have 17 types of loop for idle state and one loop for active state. And we classify these loops into 4 types based on their root cause. So I want to emphasize the first one. Actually, this is exactly as our example. It shows us we have 4G, 3G, and femtocell loop. Because of these 3 cells has uncoordinated handoff goal or handoff configuration. So it's easy for us to have the loop. Second one is we actually find that the loop can be even larger. The 2G cells can be used, so we can say 4G, femto, 2G, and 3G. This one actually is corresponding to, okay, it's caused by, it's not only caused by the uncoordinated handoff goals, but also contributed by device-side misconfiguration. We find actually some device model will choose to report 2G first and then move to 2G before he moves to 3G. So it makes the loop is even larger and the performance even worse. And we also observe the 4G only, loops. So we have 2 cases. We observed some 2G oscillated between the 2G cells. It's because we realized some operator, actually some 4G cells upgrade their configuration, but some cells do not. That's why they have some configurator, or inconsistency among their configuration. We also have some uncoordinated load balance. Is we say, all the 4G cells define their trigger condition. However, both trigger conditions can be satisfied in reality. So this means A can trigger switch to B and B can switch back to A, then this forms a loop. Okay, so this is roughly tell us the summary of this one. And I want to give one key message I want to emphasize here is this is actually the first effort to look into the mobility management. And even in our finding, we show the mobility management might be unstable, but the current, based on our observation, is still largely unstable in practice. Most of the unstable issue caused by femtocell or like say incompatible upgrades. So this actually is the contribution of actually the very nice engineering efforts from the mobile industry. But I want to emphasize one thing is in principle, such nice engineering efforts cannot guarantee stability. Because this is due to the distributed nature, each cell will have their independent preference. In case without prudent design, it can cause instability. Moreover, with the rise of the heterogeneous network, for example, femtocell, small cell, Wi-Fi, or other non-cellular carrier factor introduced, actually they will make the current mobility management more diverse and more, maybe they will be conflicted with each other, in more cases. So this is an important thing we want to pay attention. I'm almost at the end of my slides, sorry. So I want to remind this one is very early efforts, so there's a lot of problems still available. Here are 3 major problems I want to call for your attention. First one is in this work, we only look into stability. However, in addition to stability, there are many other properties. For example, we can say handoff may be converged, but converged to an undesirable choice. For example, stack 2G and 3G. I got it. Another one is that there's no network side efforts. So we should cooperate with the network side. And the last one is, in addition to this one, how could we fix this problem? How can we, avoid instability or stop this instability? So this actually is the end of my talk. So I want to present this is our first effort. I feel this is the first effort in this community to look into the mobility management instability. And we really show, real cellular network might suffer from this problem, and they call for more attention and also efforts. Okay, that's all. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to take your questions.